Welcome aboard the new patient group flight deck. Less chaos. Check. Less stress. Check. Less advertising costs. Check. More personal and financial freedom. Check. All right, business checklist completed. Let the takeoff roll begin. Welcome to Season 7 of the New Patient Group Audio Experience, a podcast dedicated to forward-thinking doctors wanting to learn innovative ways to run their business today so your practice can achieve new heights tomorrow. And now your host. He's the founder and CEO of New Patient Group, managing partner of RightChat, and a trusted motivational speaker for Invisalign, OrthoFi, and others. Brian Wright.
Hey, New Patient Group and RightChat Nation. Welcome inside the broadcast booth. Brian Wright here, and welcome in to another edition of the New Patient Group podcast. Man, oh man, this year is rolling by. We are now into the month of July. I'm a little bit behind. My goal was to finish this 3-part series we're doing, and today will be the 3rd part, and we'll wrap it up on this series that we're into. More on that in just a second, but my goodness gracious, I apologize that I didn't get this one into last month. Really, today, my goal was to get Dr. Mark Olson's and my national webinar. That was our 2nd fireside chat. That was my goal, to get that launched today. So we're going to probably push that either to later this month or into August. What I don't want to do, I've heard from a couple, we changed the podcast format, and now there's more coming at you. I don't want to send out too much. So I think what I would like to do after today, most likely, what this is going to be is, like I said, we're going to wrap up this customer service series in May. We started it, and it was a 4-part series that talked about, first of all, what is customer service? If you have not listened to that, please go back and listen to that part 1, and then listen to all those that month. Then we're coming off a series last month that talked about, okay, now how do you achieve it? All right. In May, it was the 3 ways you know you are achieving it. Last month, and then now we're wrapping it up today, is how do you achieve it? In this series, we're coming off, it's all about a mindset. I think as a business owner, what you have to be doing constantly is you've got to constantly be going back and asking a very simple question. This question is not hard. How you accomplish this question is complicated. It's complex. But you can do it if you just commit to the things that we talk about on this podcast. And the question is how do I get what I want from my team, my employees, while delivering them unexpected experiences along the way, right? Because those unexpected experiences, and this is why the definition of customer service, you getting what you want from your customer or prospective customer, meanwhile, they believe they received more than they expected from you, right? That's a difficult definition to accomplish, and that is what we're in the middle of last month and this month, wrapping it up, is how the heck do you accomplish it, all right? So remember that definition, because that is the definition the famous companies go by. They are always saying to themselves, how do I get what I want? Okay, now let's choreograph and map out the journey, and let's make sure that the consumer is getting something more than they would expected via every interaction, that chapter of the book of your business, if you will. So it's a difficult definition, but what you should always be asking yourself is the same way. Say, okay, what do I want from my team? Okay, ask yourself that question. Okay, now how do I get that? By delivering more than expected, right? And that's by improving your leadership skills, always striving to create a better culture. Have a culture that's obsessed over the customer, not the data, the finite data that you look on the data sheet. Always be investing in your customer, always being investing in improving your team, always be investing in improving yourself. If you just do that, everybody, you are going to kick butt, regardless of economic conditions, regardless of the unknown, regardless of the uncontrollables. You're going to be fine. If your mindset is always on how do I deliver a better experience, all right? And like I said, it's complicated, not easy. All right, the other piece too is you're asking, and you're going to get, by asking that question, you are going to get more out of your team. There's no doubt. You're going to create a culture where the great ones stay and thrive. The bad ones quit and leave. And that's the sign. And if I've never done one, I'm sure I will. I mean, that's the true definition of a great culture. When your great employees, your rock stars, your high trust and high performance people stay, and meanwhile the crap leave. That is the definition of a perfect culture, in my opinion, right? And there's more, of course, things that go into a perfect culture, but that is the ultimate goal that we all want as business owners, as entrepreneurs, is exactly that. Now, the next question you should be asking yourself is, how do I get what I want from my prospective customers, right? Your new patients that haven't yet signed yet. So again, I don't even like calling it a new patient because they're not. They're just some random Joe, random consumer out shopping around. That is a fact. And you need to look at it that way, because if you do, then you can ask yourself, okay, my goal is to get people to buy from me at the highest dollar, right? Because the higher I can charge and the higher my conversion and the higher the down payment, not because the down payment's required, right? But because you deliver a presentation and experience that helps you maximize your cash flow, your money down at the time of signed contract. If you're always asking yourself, how or what do I want? And then in order to get there, what do we do to deliver an unexpected experience at that given moment in time? And that's where last one, we did the culture. Then we're coming off part 2 of this series, is committing to uniquely training your team on hospitality, sales, verbiage, presentation, overcoming objections, handling complaints and turning them into a positive, right? Compliance discussions with your assistant's chairside or in front of mom. And those are just the minimal things. It goes so much more in depth, like psychology, right? Consumer psychology would be a big part of that. And whenever I say that, again, this happens to be the first time you're tuning in. Consumer psychology is knowing what to say, when to say it, how to say it, and why to say it, right? If you order your language and you say things right, it is amazing the impact that it can have. And, nobody argues that a waiter who can present the specials right, a waiter that can present and uniquely make you the way they make you feel about the wine menu, a waiter that can uniquely present dessert, right? Nobody would ever argue the fact that, of course, that's going to get a table to spend more money, right? In restaurant business, if you want to maximize the dollar that is being spent at every single table, you've got to have uniquely trained waiters, but then you have to have a culture to back it up. That is the roadmap to getting what you want at a higher level by delivering experiences that are unexpected. Right? So that was part 1 and 2. Today, we're diving into a unique one. Today is the third pillar of experience, the third pillar of success, if you will, that New Patient Group does under one roof. And I get a lot of questions about, why do you do digital marketing? And I even get questions like, we didn't even know you did it. But I want you to go back to the journey that the consumer takes with you and you take with them, right? Digital marketing plays a huge role in that, for the obvious, and I'm going to talk today about some not so obvious. And I think once you hear it, you're going to go, damn, okay, I can totally see that. And digital marketing, at the time, people, whatever, they see an Invisalign commercial and they hit Google. They see an Invisalign commercial and they hit YouTube. They see an Invisalign commercial and they hit the doctor's site, whatever it might be. At that, again, this is how I need all of you to think. It's how we train religiously the New Patient Group customers to think, is I need your brain in a spot that at this moment, right, they're going to look and they're going to enter in Invisalign, and they could enter in other terms, but the facts are Invisalign is entered in more than any in orthodontics. So they enter in Invisalign. You have all these different options come up, right? And there's probably within a 10 to 15 minute drive of that person's workplace, business, that person's house, the kid their kid when they go to pick up at school, there's probably 10 different choices just right there, right? So you ask yourself again, right? What do you want? Well, you want them to interact on your website. You want them to interact in your social media channels. You want them to search in your YouTube station, right? What you want them to do is then pick up the phone, call, schedule with you. Or if you have an online, form that they can fill out, podcast certainly I want to talk about that for those who are using that. I think it's a good idea. Sometimes it can be a fabulous idea, but there is a very specific process that you need to take in order to maximize that process to make it work for you. So they call, you want them to schedule, you want them to show up, right? You want them to buy from you. Well, digital marketing can do all of that for you. But what you have to ask then is, how or what are we doing with our digital marketing that is offering something unexpected? Because remember, you're not the only website they're going to hit. You aren't the only social media channels they're likely to check out. You're not the only YouTube station you're likely to spend some time on. Right, so there's a whole host of these things that you now have to go, okay, what can we do that's unexpected? It's interesting. My digital marketing team, which is so fabulous. One of the things that is interesting to me for a lot of you out there, the private family-owned practice, and how you talk about the larger corporations and the lack of clinical quality, and they don't commit to the finest clinical materials, and they nickel and dime things for the pursuit of profit, and the results aren't as good as yours, things like that. But for whatever reason, this is totally off the cuff, but I think it's a valid point, is you have to remember, I get asked a lot of questions about, there's a lot of big names out there, and just like in the coffee world, the big names are never the best, right? The Starbucks is crap, right? Now, there was a time where Starbucks offered a very unbelievably exceptional experience, non-coffee experience, but that's gone away. But they are big and make a lot of money, but it's not because of their quality whatsoever. And the corporations are the same way. And in this industry, the people that do digital marketing, the big names out there, there's an orthodontist that owns one of them. It just cracks me up when people bring those names up and they say, how do they compare to you? And I say, not at all. Like, I'm never going to get on stage and call out specific names. But the big names are, it's template posts. It's blah social media. They don't do anything unique whatsoever, outside of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on marketing. And I'm proud to say we built ours without marketing. It's word of mouth. It's when we do close somebody, they don't leave. And they don't leave because they are getting the best of the best of the best from personalized web development from the ground up. We don't use templates. We ensure site speed is fantastic because that's still the number one thing Google's looking for. The professional content writing that we do is actually real. Like, there's so many of these big names out there that are doing cut and paste content onto all of their sites, which is the Google violation. And it's just, they're nickel and diming things. And for whatever reason, they get away with it. I don't know if a lot of you out there, you're not paying attention. You're not looking for the differences. But these big names, they're just crap. Like, I'm just going to say it. Like, there's a time in my life and my career in this business where I probably would be more politically correct. But the reality of the situation is they're crap. They offer nothing that's unexpected as the consumer is shopping around. And I got off on a little tangent there, but it is what it is, because it goes back to your brain, your mind has to say, okay, this person's shopping. What on my website is going beyond offering something unexpected compared to the other 5 they hit, right? What is the content? How's the word speaking to them? Is there video interactions? Are there beautiful videos and bios of my team on there so they can get to know, like, and trust us as they're shopping around, right? My social media channels, 51%. This is what I was getting at a minute ago. My digital marketing team, who is just unbelievable and so devoted to the customer, it's just ridiculous. And I'm so proud we have a culture because just like that, because just like I tell everybody, just like when someone's buying Invisalign or braces, whatever the hell they're buying, the investment is in you. It's not the tool. It's the same thing when you buy from us or you buy from another company. What your real investment is in the leadership team, in the culture they have. Are they customer obsessed? Or are they nickel and diming things for the sake of profit to screw their customer? The mindset of the CEO. All of that, when you invest in us, that's what you're getting. The best of everything. And we are proud. Doesn't mean we're perfect. God knows we're not perfect. Have we made mistakes? Heck yeah, we've made mistakes. But we learn from them, right? And we're always looking 5 years ahead to make sure our customer is there way before other people even decide to try to get there. And, when you're we've never wanted to be known for a digital marketing company because we're so far beyond that. And we use, I keep getting on these little tangents, but our digital marketing team, when we had MPG Iconic in this January, as I do this podcast, this past January, they talked about a stat of 51% of Gen Z women are doing searches via the video search on TikTok. And I like searching around and blah, blah, blah. And I go to practice after practice after practice after practice after practice. There's nothing there, or there's nothing there that's unique, nothing there that's going to really truly move the needle. And it just leaves such a huge opportunity for all of you. And this is one of those, it's a leaky hole for all of you who aren't doing video marketing, aren't doing video marketing on TikTok. But it's one of those holes, again, that, when you print out your practice management software data, nowhere on there does it say, well, you need to do 7 more videos a week on TikTok, or a month or whatever. You get the point, right? This goes back to the finite versus infinite data. The infinite data, and the infinite-minded is going, okay, again, what can I do that goes beyond for the consumer? What can I do that's unexpected at this given moment in time as people shop? And that's how our brain works. So all this leads me into, digital marketing plays such a unique opportunity if you get your brain off of how do I get more new patients? How do I get more likes? How do I get more of this? How do I get more of this? Like, all of that matters, and it's something we as a company pay very close attention to, and it is on our list of goals. But I'm going to paint a picture to you on why the real reason that I wanted digital marketing when I founded this company 11 years ago, why I wanted digital marketing to be a piece of it. So, my brain has never been like, let's say you want to grow and you say, okay, I'm going to go train my TC. Okay, great. Like, that's something we do, right? Our digital workflow, exam flow, sales, fundamentals, all kinds of consumer psychology, a big part of what we do as far as the TC and doctor exam goes in digital workflow, huge part. But where my mind constantly goes is that doesn't maximize anything, right? What if we were able to lower your no-shows 30% and increase your treatment conversion 10% on top of that, right? Or 20% or whatever the hell the number is. So if we only increase your conversion by 20%, we do great for you, right? That's an amazing increase. You're happy you grew. But then you have all these new patient no-shows. So my mind is constantly going, okay, what if we looked at every interaction, every piece of that consumer journey, and all we thought about was how do we give the best possible experience, right? Screw the numbers, forget conversion, forget new patients, forget everything. Just at this moment right now, what are they expecting when they schedule at a restaurant? What are they expecting after they call a plumber? What are they expecting as I'm shopping around looking for a lawyer? What am I expecting after I make a reservation for the first time at an Italian restaurant for my 30th wedding anniversary? Like, this is constantly going through my brain, right? And when I walk through somebody's doors, what am I expecting? What's the norm? And too often in business, because most people are finite-minded, we're letting that data drive our decisions. Not here with New Patient Group or my other company, RightChat. What drives our decisions is what can we do for the customer today that we didn't do yesterday? How can we challenge ourselves that everything we're teaching, there's a better way to do it, right? Because the customer wins whenever they invest in a leadership team and a culture of an organization that has all that. A while back, I did a podcast around why your digital marketing is not producing the results that you need. And the whole premise of that podcast, we had several comments around it. Hey, you caught me off guard with this one. The reason it's not is your culture. You will only succeed with your digital marketing if your culture's right. Otherwise, you're going to get this. We don't have enough time, right? Ever heard of that one before? Well, you don't have enough time because of the way you're running your practice. You're not using remote monitoring. You're not doing enough clear aligners. You're not outsourcing enough, whether it be to us with New Patient Group, mother company RightChat, a company like OrthoFi, etc. Right? If you're chaotic inside your doors and you say you don't have enough time for stuff, well, that's you. Like that's your leadership decision as the CEO of your organization. And I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but this is why it's the same thing with part 2 that I did with training, and I mentioned it. You can train all day long on the new patient phone call and all the skill sets, your TC, your assistants, on down the line. But if your culture isn't right, they're not going to do it. And they're going to push back. Like, I love the one where employees say, we're doing well. What do we need help for? And unfortunately, for a lot of you out there, your employees run your business. which for the life of me, I can't figure out why you think that's a good idea. Or anytime you want to do something, you go get employees, input. And why you think that's a good idea, I can't comprehend. But that's just the way it is for a lot of you out there. And if you say, I don't have enough time to shoot the content, because look, digital marketing works when you shoot content, when your team is engaged shooting content. It doesn't work with template posts, with just this crap so many of you pay companies out there to do. And you most likely did that because you're so finite-minded that when you looked at paper, one company was whatever, X amount every month, and the other company that offered experience and their leadership team was better. And they did true personalized content by delivering marketing assignments and held your hand and coached you and actually produced a high return on investment. On paper, that company was Y, and it was higher or sometimes significantly more higher than the first one I mentioned. And therefore, you think the second one you can't afford, when in actuality, the one on paper that's cheaper is actually the one that's more expensive because it has a leadership team that sucks. They don't know their customer. They're not constantly innovating. They're not helping you make sure that your social media channels, your YouTube station, your website, your SEO, everything is unexpected to help you get what you want. You get the point. But if you can't get your heads off the freaking paper and stop being finite-minded and move to be an infinite-minded leader to create a culture of your organization that obsesses over the customer, a culture of your organization that trains your people like nobody will commit to, and a culture in your organization that produces the best digital marketing presence there is, you will kick butt, but you can't do it if you can't get your head out of the freaking paper and whatever the numbers are telling you. Stop it. Be infinite-minded and obsess over your customer and your employees by giving them more than expected. And you can't give more than expected if you're nickel and diming everything, thinking that's cheaper and tripping over dollars to pick up pennies. And it goes back to the definition. When you do that, you aren't going to get what you want at a higher level, and you certainly are not delivering more than expected to people that are shopping around or the people that have bought from you or the people that have scheduled from you. Your culture has to be right. Your mindset. And remember, I talked about it. The leadership and culture side, I call it that. But there's so many things that go into that. Like your spousal relationship at home can affect the leader you are at the work, which then in turn affects the culture and just on down the line. Like there's so many, like one of the girls that works for you at your office, the guy she's dating, and if he's, if the guy's a piece of crap and beats her up as an example, that's going to affect the culture in your office. It's going to affect her performance. It's the same thing if team members are arguing. Like your customer will suffer. You as a business owner will suffer. Your team will suffer. It's all intertwined. None of these that I'm talking about operate on their own at all whatsoever. And digital marketing is the same way. You've got to have the right mindset to look at it from what can we do to go beyond? What can we do to deliver more than expected? What can my practice do to be a better experience company than any people business, which is everybody, they've ever dealt with? Get your head out of the ortho, dental, etc. clouds like you hear me talk about all the time. Put your mind in a place of what can I do to deliver a better experience? Is analog-based photos and yanking their cheeks apart at the new patient experience, is that better than a fully digital workflow showcasing all the different ways the iTero scanner can help convert through a better experience? Of course the iTero scanner is better, but a lot of you out there have the mentality of you like the photos, right? So you like the photos, but the person you're trying to get to buy from you, that is not anywhere close to an unexpected experience. Doesn't mean you can't take them. Doesn't mean you can't use them. But the digital part of the business is so much better. Like as far as the digital scanner, that should be content you're doing all over the place. Should be something your receptionist edifies via the pillar 2 that we talked about with the training. But it all goes back to the culture and the mindset of delivering a beyond experience. So yes, it's about the quality of the web designs and the writing and the posts on social media and all of this stuff. Of course it is. Just like it's definitely about the quality of your clinical work as well. But way beyond that, again, when a patient invests in you, it's you as the doctor, your leadership team, your commitment to training your clinical people, the non-clinical experiences. That's the real investment. Just like it is when you buy from a company on the business side to help your business so your practice can thrive. So when your mind is constantly on better experiences, unexpected experiences, some really cool things start coming to your mind that otherwise or very likely never have happened or would have happened. And I want to give you this as we dive in with this piece in the digital marketing, is that we have done something that has become really, really popular. Like before, when I talked about the TikTok stuff, that is a way to get more patients. There's no doubt about it. Like Gen Z is a fabulous target market. Fabulous target market. That is great for all of you out there. You should be doing it. Like, should you be doing things to get new customers, new patients? Of course you should, which is obviously a big part of what we do with our digital marketing. And it's done, again, to make sure when they're checking 5 websites, yours looks the best. When they're checking 5 websites, our professional photography, when we come on site, looks the best. When they're hitting Facebook and they're looking around and boom, they come across your practice, you look the best. That you've got the most 5-star reviews. Like your brand, your logo looks impeccable. Your YouTube station is interactive. Like you've got live camera feeds coming from GoPros around your assistants' heads. Like there's so many wacky, crazy ideas we have. And why? Because we're constantly saying, how do we have our customers kick the crap out of the other people in their area? Which means we're constantly coming to our customers with new stuff, better stuff, unique stuff, innovative stuff to make sure they're always ahead. And through that, there's been a couple things that have come up that have been really, really cool. And this is why you've got to go back to how can you advance your patient experience? How can you advance your employee experience? Well, I'll give you a couple ways here. So let's say you schedule at a restaurant and it's your first time. You've got whatever. You're going out with a couple buddies, or it's your really important 50th wedding anniversary, whatever it might be. Think about at that given moment in time, all the times you've scheduled for the first time at a restaurant. Think about what happens, right? And these are the things. This is the culture. This is the mindset. This is where you have to be, and this is what you have to install into your team's head too. Because I can tell you at every restaurant you've ever scheduled at, what you've got is automated text reminders, right? You might have gotten an email text or an email reminder as well. That's what you get. Now, that's what you get inside the orthodontic environment as well. Like you're going to get some email reminders. You're going to get some text message reminders. You're going to get some email, things sent. Maybe a TC calls you. You're going to get the same stuff. And while there's nothing wrong with it, what it proves in the restaurant world, in the plumber world, in the lawyer world, in the realtor world, in your world, is that people's mind is not on how do I get what I want by delivering more than expected. And right now, what do you want? They've scheduled. So now what do you want? You want them to get them to show up. You want to get them showing up excited. You want to get them showing up psychologically prepared to buy, knowing this is the place I want to do it. Right? And the psychology effect of the halo effect is really, really powerful. The psychology effect of a lot of stuff that we teach around persuasion. Persuasion is real, man. Persuasion, getting people empathetic and loyal to your brand prior to truly experiencing it has as much, if not more, impact on anything you will ever do to get people to say yes to treatment. To the point where we are so obsessed with making sure the persuasion portion of that consumer patient journey sets you apart so much from any place they've ever dealt with. I teach all of you, you're a people business first. But what I've realized recently is a lot of you out there don't truly understand what we actually mean by that. Right? The concierge job description that we have and the ortho coach, transforming that job description from just an assistant to somebody that actually moves the needle forward in treatment, to hundreds of other things, never letting anybody wait in the waiting room, operating a schedule that works in a way where people are greeted the moment they walk through the door without any wait time. Right? I could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about what we mean by a people business, but when I say that we want to turn you into a high-level hotel that just happens to do orthodontics rather than hotel rooms, that's what we do. So when you go back to this, what do you want? In wanting them to show up excited, show up psychologically prepared to buy. There isn't a text message on the planet that's going to get that to happen. There isn't an email on the planet that's going to get that to happen. And TCs out there, because many of you do this, that try to spend their time calling the patient prior to walking through the door. That's fine if you do that. Not trying to convince you not to. But the reality is likely as I'm scheduling at 3, 4, 5 places, other people are going to do that too. So nothing of that downtime pre-arrival strategy process, nothing is driving them towards you getting what you want by delivering more than expected. But what if, Google owns YouTube, and they have for a long time, and they had a vision years upon years ago that eventually YouTube would be the largest search engine in the world. So I'm sitting there knowing, we're living a video society. My mom's like 72, loves YouTube, watches videos on Facebook, blah, blah. So it's not just the younger generations, it's everybody. So I say to myself, okay, at this moment in time, the call's over, right? And again, and I've talked to you last time in part 2 about getting your head out of the orthodontic clouds, the dental clouds, the whatever clouds you're in, forget it. Get out of there and get into hospitality. That's why I want to use the restaurant examples, and I'm going to use it now. What if you scheduled at a restaurant for the very first time, and all of a sudden on your phone from the YouTube station came a video from the chef introducing himself, talking about the culinary school, taking you through a virtual tour of the kitchen, walking you through the garden where they grow all of their homegrown, purely organic vegetables and herbs and fruits that they use for the various dishes that they use for their specials, for their desserts. What if in that video, the CEO, if it wasn't the chef that owned the restaurant, it was the owner that was on there introducing himself too and telling you thanks for spending your time with us. We look forward to meeting you and your family. And maybe the head floor manager was on there and saying, hey, look, my name's Joe. When you walk in, I'm going to be the first to greet you, shake your hand. We know you have a lot of choices out there, and thanks for dining with us. And whether that was professional, honestly, this is why I teach all of you, is that done and is way better than greatness that sits on the shelf, right? I love the saying is that crap implemented well is better than any great idea ever that sits on the shelf and does nothing. Right? So this is something that you could just selfie yourself tomorrow morning and start sending it out to every new patient that ever schedules the rest of your life. Right? Is it going to work as good? No. But it's sure as heck better than a text message. Right? Our text message reminders is a video that does a whole virtual tour around the whole office. It just says your appointment's tomorrow, goes in the YouTube station, just like the previous one. The previous one is not personalized. It's one and done. But see, what you're doing is you're putting those on your YouTube station. You're coding them right. At least that's what we do for our customers. And the coding piece is huge because the description, the coding, all that stuff has to be right for Google to look at it and go, okay, we're going to boost you up the search rankings. And see, by doing this, what's happening? Well, you're delivering at this moment in time something that's unexpected, something that they did not see coming, something that likely no people business of any kind ever has ever done. And that's the mindset I need all of you to be in. You're not in orthodontics. You are not in orthodontics. Like the only people ever that could think something that remote monitoring was bad is people in orthodontics. There is no consumer on the planet that would ever say no to better clinical results, more personal attention at the convenience of their family schedule. There's none of that isn't freaking awesome, right? And this is why in any hospitality business, your service and product is secondary. Not that it doesn't have to be it doesn't mean that it's not as important to be as awesome as it needs to be. It does. That's an ingredient, but it's one ingredient to a huge puzzle. And see, what I just did was give you one little tiny piece of a much bigger thing that we do with digital marketing on the downtime. See, my idea is let's use digital marketing to pump out to the people that have already scheduled with us, to pump out to the people that have bought treatment from us. Because as we're getting all of these views and people are going back to video and sending them back to the YouTube station and thumbing up and making comments and all this stuff, Google's looking at you going, wow, that's awesome. right? Now let's pump you up over on Google. Now some random Joe searching the internet comes across one of those videos and says, damn, that's cool. I'm going to pick up and call this place. And you've backdoored your way in. But you did it by going, what is the best experience at this given moment in time for my prospective customer? Right? It wasn't about money. It wasn't about this. It wasn't about that. It was purely saying, how can I get what I want by delivering them at this given moment in time something that's unexpected, right? Which is, again, the definition. This is why you have to go back. Listen all through May. Listen all through June, and then now this episode. See, this is why digital marketing has to be the piece. If you're the employee and patient experience company like New Patient Group is, these are the things when you invest in us that our brains are doing for you. You are going to kick everyone's butt. Sometimes it takes time. You're right. Oh my God, I got to be patient. Yes, you got to be patient. That's called business. That's called being an entrepreneur. Right? You've got to be consistent. You've got to be held accountable. All the things that aren't exciting, but produce the most exciting results. And see, also, too, if you're complaining about patient compliance, this is where my brain goes. Okay, so you have a team of clinical assistants, and we'll just use the Invisalign delivery appointment. And what happens? What's the norm? Well, the norm is, they show up, they sit in your waiting room, and then you call them back and you say, okay, here's how to put on the aligners. Here's how to take off the aligners. Here's how to take care of the aligners. And you say your spiel, and you say it every single time to every single start appointment over and over and over again your whole career. Meanwhile, you're lucky if any one person you give that spiel to remembers 3% of what you say. Because it's a lot like, remember when you go get a car and you get to the finance people, and there's exceptions to this. Engineers would be one. My dad was one when he was alive. But I would not be the exception. I fall into what I'm about to describe, as do most people. Where, the finance guy's telling you things, blah, blah, just like whatever. You want to sign the papers, you want to get out. All you can think about is this brand new shiny car you bought. You can't freaking wait to go drive it and figure out all the buttons and all the electronics, the tech. This is what happens for all of you. Yeah, I'm there to get my aligners. They don't hear a freaking word you say, and they're not experts at that stuff. So what happens? You get compliance problems, and there's a whole host of other things that create the compliance problem too. How you have that appointment, your assistants not being trained on sales, hospitality, all the things we teach. I could go on and on and on. But for today's purposes, now how does digital marketing fit into that? Right? What do we want? Well, one of the things you should want is to streamline your start appointments, right? Now, how do we get the start appointments down at least 10 minutes? Our customers, the ones that have implemented this well, are down 10 to 15, right? But the experience is better on top of it. So you say to yourself, we live in a video society. Why in the hell am I going to have my assistants repeat the same damn information over and over and over and over again forever when people don't even listen, right? That's not getting us what we want, nor the customer, the patient. So how do we save them time? How do we actually use this in the TC exam to actually edify what the existing patient experience looks like throughout the treatment journey as a reason somebody may buy from us instead of somebody else? Because I can promise you somebody else is not going to do what I'm describing on the new patient experience or what I'm about to say now. Because our brains, again, go, okay, how about we create a really cool YouTube video around the Invisalign start appointment? Right? And demonstrate how to take or put on the aligners and take them off and take care of them and all the things you would have to repeat. So this goes out 72 hours-ish, could be a little bit more, 48 hours, I would say minimum. You instruct that the parents, this is part of your appointment, Joey. That's talked about in the TC room, right? So this goes out to them, and now they get to watch a video of what to expect at the start appointment. You put a fake patient, one of your team members in the chair. You have another clinical assistant, an ortho coach, we call that, and they're talking back and forth from the camera to the patient. They're demonstrating everything. Right? They're making people feel comfortable. They're educated. They know what to expect when they come in. And then you have people role play. Mr. Jones, you watched the video? Yeah, I watched it. Okay, show me how you put on those aligners, man. Good job. Good job. Couple tips here. Boom. Okay, now take them off. Okay, you did great job. You definitely watched the video. Another tip here. Right? So you go into a coach in role play mode. Now that is how they're going to get something out of it. Right? When's the last time you went somewhere, didn't drive, you rode, and you would ever remember how to get there again if you had to hop in the chair and drive? It doesn't happen. You have to do it at least once to be able to remember how to drive to the freaking place, and it's the same way with this. So again, you're sending hundreds of people to your YouTube station, building it up, increasing your Google rank at the same time. Your compliance goes up. Your appointment times go down. The experience, and this is again going back to if you're obsessed with employee and patient experiences, and that's where your mind is all the time. And your mind is constantly, how can we get what we want at a higher level? How can they get more than they expected via every interaction they have throughout their journey with us, before, purchase, and after? If that's your culture, that's your mindset, that's how you train your team, and then this is how you need to do your digital marketing. Right? Of course, you've got to do digital marketing as we do to go out and attract people who don't know who the hell you are. Of course, that's a big piece of it. But the biggest piece, and the biggest return, by the way, of anything you could ever do for digital marketing is not pay-per-click. It's not any of that crap. It's what content are you producing that advertises to your customer? Do remote monitoring, right? What happens to a lot of you? You show up and let's say you do dental monitoring as an example. What do? You give them the whole spiel, how to download it, how to do this, blah, 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 blah. No, create a beautiful video out of that. Right? After they sign the contract, if it happens to be in your office, hand them an iPad, have them watch it, have them get it done before they leave. Right? Again, reiterate, these videos are part of your appointment, Mr. Jones, Susie. Right? We need you to watch them to get the best experience. We've taken the time to shoot these to save you money. We know you and your family's time is very valuable. It's very important. Right? See, this is true digital marketing. It's not just how do you attract and just shoot new deer when you've got 1,000 frozen in the freezer. You just need to learn how to cook them right. This is you all out there. You've got to have a kick-butt culture that obsesses over your employee experience and your patient experience. 1. 2, you've got to commit to uniquely training your team with experts in sales, hospitality, verbiage, presentation training, psychology training. And you've got to ask yourself, the people training them, are they qualified to train the Ritz-Carlton and the Montage in a $500 table for two restaurant? And if the answer is no, why are they training your people if you claim to be a people-first business? That is the difference with us compared to anybody else in this industry and beyond. And then the third one is digital marketing, all with the mindset of how can you deliver more in order to get what you expect or what you want. And it's all about unexpected experiences, everybody. Digital marketing is one given moment in time to get them to call and schedule. But it's also an ongoing given moment in time, right? With downtime to get them to show up ready to buy, to get them to be more compliant. And this is an itsy-bitsy, teensy-weensy world that I'm introducing you to how we are so unique on the digital marketing side. But that finishes up our 3-step process, 2 last month, 1 this month, on how you achieve the definition of customer service, getting what you want at a higher level from your team, getting what you want at a higher level from your prospective patients, getting what you want at a higher level from your patients in treatment by delivering them more than expected via every interaction that you have with them. Have your mind in that place, everybody. Build a culture around it. Train your team around it. Carry out your digital marketing around it. We hope you become a customer in one of these 3 areas I talked about or in all. We appreciate our family members, customers out there of Right Chat and New Patient Group. As always, if you're watching on the YouTube station, hey there, thumb us up, make some comments, share with your friends and family, and everybody else listening on the audio experiences. Thanks so much. Give us that 5-star review. It really helps us out. And we hope that we can do some amazing video marketing and digital marketing things for you, as well as the coaching stuff. We look forward to talking to everybody soon, seeing everybody soon. Thanks for your support, everybody, as we wrap up the 3 ways to accomplish customer service. Talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye.